Welcome to episode 1 of Uncontained. I am Aaron Static Render, and this is the first episode. You found it. Congratulations. Something that's been in the making for a long time, and I actually had the privilege to sit down with comedian Tom Garland for the first ever episode of Uncontained. We talk about his time on tour with Preston Lacey, Steve-O from Jackass, and maybe even the makings of a reality show about the comedy scene in Iowa City, Iowa. We also talk about his acting debut and connection to Saved by the Bell. I'd like to personally thank you for taking the time to check out episode 1 of Uncontained. And please, after the show, rate and review in iTunes and share it with your friends. With no further ado, here is comedian Tom Garland. Enjoy. Welcome to Uncontained. I have comedian Tom Garland on the line today for a first episode of Uncontained. How's it going, Tom?
Hey, not too bad, man. What's up? Thanks for having me.
Not bad. Yeah, thank you for being on the show. First time we recorded, the audio didn't turn out right, so got to do it again. So thanks for making the second appearance on the first episode.
Dude, thanks for having me. First episode too. Congrats. It's been a while since we talked like this, interview style. It was back when you were on KRNA in Cedar Rapids.
It has been a while, man. That was a good interview though back then, man.
And how long ago were you in Iowa? Even how long have you been out in LA? It's been what, 5 years now?
I'm actually up in the Bay Area.
Okay.
No, it hasn't been that long. I've been out here for 3 years,
Okay.
But I came back and visited 2 years ago, October.
Right on. And you were with KRNA for 7 years, you said.
For 7 years,
7
yes,
years,
that's
man.
correct.
That's crazy.
So I interviewed you. I've interviewed some bands. I interviewed Corey Taylor from Slipknot while I was there.
Oh, that's cool, man. I just saw a video of Slipknot playing Ricky Martin. Have you seen this?
I did. I was expecting them to like metal it out or something instead of just go straight through it like Living La Vida Loca.
You think it's him, yeah.
Yeah, I was like, okay, when's this gonna get heavy?
Right.
When's this gonna get heavy? When's Corey gonna scream? No, he just went all Ricky Martin.
They don't give a shit. That's just what it is now. Now it's just we're so big we don't give a fuck, which good for them. I mean, they're just from Des Moines. I think that's the cool, right? I mean, that's where they're from. I think that's the coolest thing.
Yes.
Ever.
And them actually just doing it straight up Ricky Martin style, it's almost more metal than metaling it out. It's because people would expect them to throw metal in it and then be like, what the hell? They just really don't give a fuck.
That's how far metal they are. They're so metal, they play pop music now. Next week, he's going to come out naked on a wrecking ball. Just
probably, yes.
There. Michael Jordan jersey, panties, whatever Miley was wearing. That was weird.
Man, I really don't want either vision. Corey Taylor or Miley Cyrus.
I think Miley should wear one of those masks. They should make a Miley mask. That should be one of the guys. One of the guys should just be Miley's drugged out face.
There's Clown and then Miley.
Just like Miley at the end of the weekend. Just her face all drugged out and nasty, yeah.
Yes, Billy Ray, what did you do? Enough Miley Cyrus talk, Tom. Bringing down the podcast. So, what have you been up to, man? You've been on the road lately?
Yeah, I just got back from North Carolina, and I was also in Alabama for a night, and took a nice little three night run out there with another comic. His name is Bill Blank, and I work with Bill a lot. We've done I think it's I keep losing track or screwing it up, but I think we've done 17 or 18 states. I think this is our 18th. Alabama.
Oh wow!
Yeah. So he's been really good to me, man. If I didn't have that going on, I'm not saying I wouldn't be in the game, but it would be different and harder. Definitely a lot more work looking for the gigs. Cause Bill is one of those guys that just gives me first pick on his gigs to open for him. And when you start getting that with different headliners letting you do that, I've had different ones let me do it in the past, but Bill probably, as far as more gigs, definitely Bill has been the best with that. And you know, I kind of had that with Donzilla for a while too, and some other dudes while I was coming up on the road. This Eric O'Shea guy was helping me out like that with colleges for a while. And when someone starts saying like, "Yo, your schedule is my schedule," that helps so much, you know, because then you can.
Yes.
It's like all those dates, and then you go like, okay, I'm going to do those dates, but then I'm going to find mine on top of that, and then so then your schedule all of a sudden looks full, and it is full, you know, and you've got, you know, you're not making a lot of money, hardly if any, but you're getting through, you know. And that's kind of like how it is with road comedy at first. It's just very day to day.
Yeah.
But if you just keep in mind, like, you know, you're going to come out on the other side, then it's not as bad. You know, it's more just like trying to ignore it the whole time, which is, you know, tough to do. But
it's kind of like being a radio station DJ
right.
as well.
I mean, I'm sure you get it. Yeah, all forms of entertainment are like that. Yeah, I mean, you know, hell, when we, you know, I remember just thinking when I was younger, like how big a radio station must be, and you know how elaborate it has to be inside of there. And then you get into them, and they're just like these little booths, you know.
Yeah,
There's just these little, and you know, and like some of your stuff, you were like pre-recording them, right? So you could go, yeah,
anything to save money for Cumulus, you
right,
know,
right,
like
exactly. But I mean, they're just
they're like,
cutting all
why
sorts
pay
of
you the
stuff.
full
Hmm.
5 hours that you're on
Yeah.
air when we can pay you an hour and a
And
half?
why have
You know?
6 DJs when we could have three and just different shit? And this guy could do sports too, and they won't know. No one's gonna know the difference, or why even have
Yeah.
DJs at all? Like there's some of them. I think that 100, you know, they're that 100. It's like 107 or something like that. Here, it's one of the new pop stations in Cedar Rapids. It's all just digital. It's all just a fucking computer that runs it the whole time. Which is like, I guess if you're the guy that owns it, what do you give a shit? But like, you know, at some point that kind of gets sad uh, when
And
there's
they
not that
wonder why
human
radio.
interaction.
Yeah, they wonder why radio is a dying art, you know, a dying form of media. It's just because corporate's trying to make money off of it, but by doing that, they're losing money,
It's
you
hard to
know?
want to change that kind of stuff though. Like you know, I studied journalism and that sort of stuff, and I did freelance for KCRG for a while, and you know, when you they want to clean. I mean, you don't want to fix what's not broken, you know, and then people start telling you like, oh, radio's not working and the newspaper's not working, and you're like, well, it kind of is. You know, so we're
Yeah.
not just going to get rid of this until we know for sure that this is out and something else is in. And there's always these fads, man. This stuff comes and goes. You know, when you think of like what MySpace was like, and then people make money off stuff like that, obviously. Um, but the people that rush to it, like, oh, this is my ticket in, or my ticket to followers or to sales or to, you know, to fans or whatever. Like some of them they work, but others, you know, I'm just I finally got to the point with the social media and all that stuff. Like I just want to have fun with it again. I spent so much
Yeah.
time just trying to get networking and get, you know, that I realized I was like starting to lose sight of writing jokes and putting out material. And the thing is like I don't like putting it out that way. I'd rather put it out on the stage, and that's what I've been doing for the last couple of years and why I've been doing well. But you know, at the same time, that's what the people want. They're like, okay, I'll follow you after your show. You know, they see you, and then they don't see you writing anything afterwards, and they're like, what
And they
the
want to see you testing jokes
right?
out
They want it on,
online and
yeah.
all
They
that
want to
good
test it
stuff.
out on there too, and it is a lazy thing for me to turn around and say, you know, oh, I don't want to change. You know, I don't want to podcast, or I don't want to do so. You know, so I started Snapchat, and I've been getting pretty crazy on there. I like that one because I don't think my family knows how to use it yet. You know, that's
By
the other
getting
thing too.
pretty crazy on Snapchat, does that mean you're just sending dick pics all over the
Right,
place?
right.
Because
It's just
that's what
mostly
Snapchat's
nudity.
for,
No,
right?
I took a shit on there and smoked some weed. I mean, it has been pretty tame when you really think about it, but just like, and that's not all just shock value crap that I'm trying to do. I want to give an actual look of, I want to use it to give a look. I didn't realize that I talked shit about it, and I didn't really ever realize that you could do video on there like that. And I really like that because, you know, that's originally what got me into wanting to be funny was I would do these little jackass imitation videos when I was maybe like 14 or so, you know, 13,
Yeah.
14, like everybody did back then. And
Oh yeah.
yeah, and you know, like early I had videos before YouTube. It was a website called Putfile, and you could put stuff on there. And I remember putting stuff on Putfile, and then YouTube came out, and then that went crazy. And now all of a sudden cell phones and all that shit. But yeah, I've always really liked the um, having the fun, silly videos, and those are fun because they're just little 10-second little clip videos. So I've been having fun with that. I'm trying to do more video from the road and stuff, and just to see like the crazy people in the, like I don't think I do it justice sometimes either on Facebook or on Instagram or any of that stuff on like showing people what it's like out there. The one thing you really find too is that the rest of the country is all really the same. I mean, I don't know if you felt that since your move, but you're just on one couch or another. It's just it's all the same. Like there's cornfields
a lot of the
everywhere,
same
man. It's
things.
all
Yes.
the whole country's just Iowa. And then the corporate world has really done that. You go someplace and you're like, where are you guys going to eat? And they eat at Olive Garden too. And they go to Red Lobster. They have the exact same town you do because they have the same corporations you do. They don't have unique things anymore. You go to one city, it's just like another city because they got a bubblegum shrimp too. It's all McDonald's. It's all uh, corporate mush. It's weird.
Unless you go to Berkeley,
Right.
then there's
Right.
none of that stuff there.
Right.
Like
Exactly.
it's like you can't find like
That's
the
funny.
only name like chains that you'll find there. You'll find like Walgreens, CVS.
Yeah, even
They
that, the
have a
gas stations and all
McDonald's and
that
a
are
Jack
getting
in the
all,
Box.
and the convenience stores even are all getting uh, to be the same.
Most of it's just mom and pop type stores, which is kind of cool and all, unless you want to
Mhm.
Target, you
But I
know?
mean, I was in Alabama. The one of the snaps I did was just like filming. I would like to film in the bar we were at in Alabama, and it just completely looked like Iowa, dude. It looked like I mean, I honestly could have drove. I could have drove down to Edgewood Road here in Cedar Rapids and pulled off at like the back of a bar and filmed and been like, "Yo, I'm in Alabama." I mean, that's what it looked like, dude. It's just nuts, It's so weird for me, but the travel is the cool part of the job though at the same time. Like
Yeah.
that's the rewarding part, and meeting people and all that. But like I really like getting to see the country. It's been really cool.
Have you ever thought about doing Periscope?
Yeah, I did that. My buddy, do you remember Keegan Buckingham that's in Chicago?
Yeah.
He likes
Yeah.
Periscope, man. He does the Periscope, and we
Like
we did it one night at his place in Chicago after doing like I think we were showcasing or miking or something and downloaded that. It's fun. He'll put it on and be like, "What should I watch on TV?" And it's just pointed at the channel guide. And he's got people all over the world telling him what he should watch on TV. It's just crazy.
That's interesting. I haven't actually
It's a
done
funny little
Periscope
stunt
yet,
on there.
but it'd be cool to like Periscope your show or something like that.
That's interesting too. In that like on Periscope you can watch other people's, and so one of the first things I did was start watching like Saudi Arabia and Iraq and all sorts of crazy countries in the Middle East, thinking like I'm gonna see some shit, you know what I mean? I'm gonna see it go down, and then you click on it, and they're living just like us too. They're just driving around and going to work and shit. We have this vision in our minds that it's just chaos over there, and I mean obviously it is, but they're we think that it's such a different world that they're not trying to live like we are. And it's like, of course,
Yeah.
everybody's in the same pursuit of a good life. Like, what the hell, we just think people are so uneducated, and it's not the case at all. So, Periscope's kind of cool for that. It's fun.
Yeah, yeah. I actually need to check that out. It's been something I've wanted to look into, but haven't got around to yet.
Yeah, man, spy on people. Edward
But
Snowden, you get on there.
there we go. But don't even need to hire a private eye. Just get your Periscope and
Edward Snowden got a Twitter account today. Did you see that?
I did not. I have not been following Snowden. So he got a Twitter account today,
He's on.
huh?
Yeah, he's back on Twitter. I'm sure they won't find him off that. I'm sure that's secure.
No,
That's got to be
probably not.
secure.
Yeah. Man, some people's kids, I tell you. So, speaking of kids, how did it happen that you're in a kids movie
I am in a
now?
kids movie. You know, I thought about that today because I was
Did you
snacking.
like that transition
Yeah,
right
no,
there
that was
from
great, man.
Edward
You were so
Snowden to
smooth. God
kids?
damn, you were smooth. That's
My
that
my
KRNA,
radio
man.
days right
Yeah,
there. Oh yeah.
all day, man. That's great, dude. You got the skill and craft. That's for sure. I I am in a kids movie. It's a family movie. You know, it's for the whole family. It's funny. It's called Up on the Rooftop, and it's got a Christmas theme to it, and it's got dogs in it, and the dogs talk with CGI, and it's actually pretty incredible. But yeah, it stars.
Isn't Mr. Belding in
Yeah,
that?
it stars Dennis Haskins. He's Mr. Belding from Saved by the Bell, and then the guy that played Johnny Tsunami, Brandon Baker, is in it. Uh, Preston Lacey does a cameo. I do a cameo, and yeah, and there's another guy in it who's a young actor named Adam Hicks, and I think I think it was an original movie. I might be wrong. It might be a TV show. I'm not up on Disney Channel, but Lemonade Mouth on the Disney Channel is what he's from, and he's got a huge following, and he's the
Really?
voice of the dog in it, and he's actually really good. So, yeah, it's a cool movie. It's by do you remember? I know you did comedy in Iowa. This guy, he's done some stand up. His name's Joe Clark.
I remember the name.
Hmm.
I probably met him, but
I think you
couldn't put
probably
a
did,
face
man.
to it.
He's really talented. He's got another movie out um, with the Johnny Tsunami guy called it's called The Formula, and that's on Netflix and Redbox right now. It came out last year, and they shot that in Iowa City and stuff. And so when he came out with this one, you know, I was like, I wanted to get involved, but I've never really done any acting before. So he was pretty cool with me, and you know, found a he found a role for me as a sketchy bartender in a scene that we shot at Gabe's, and without giving too much away about it, Bruce J is in a scene as well with me, which was really cool to be able to do a scene with Bruce. And you know, after he's kind of been my mentor for the last couple of years, so that was fun. And
Yeah, I'll have to get him on the podcast
dude, you
too.
really should. I mean, Bruce would be incredible, dude. He's got such a story to tell. Like,
Yeah. If he wants to tell it though, when I interviewed him at the radio station, he wanted to be introduced as a 6 foot tall kabuki or like dressed like an Easter bunny or something like that.
Kabuki.
Yeah, I was like, what? Okay.
Oh man. Well, he sometimes he calls himself the Puka, like from
Puka,
yeah,
that's
it's a
it.
Puka.
That's it. 6 foot tall
Yeah,
puka.
a 6 foot tall puka. That's what he is, kind of. He's kind of a puka. You know what a puka is?
Well, he said it was like big, like a big bunny or
Yeah,
something
it's
like
like
that.
it's Irish folklore that like some people that are mentally ill see a rabbit that's not there, and the rabbit like tells him. It's that there's a Jimmy Stewart movie where he sees a rabbit, and like Donnie Darko, that's a puka where he sees the.
Okay.
You know what I mean? The whole story is about like a puka in Donnie Darko. I mean, it's got other stuff in it too, but that's what the rabbit is. It's a puka.
Gotcha. It's making more sense now.
It's like, dude, it's like Chupacabra or something like that, but it's kind of like Mothman, where it like talks to him and tells him what to do and stuff like that. Uh, but you know, Bruce is kind of a comedy guru, you know, of sorts. Uh, so he refers to himself as a puka at times.
He is. I've seen him go up on stage, do material and kill, and then also just go up on stage and like sing like a virgin and take his leg
Dude,
off
I think he's
and
brilliant. I
kill
mean,
that
I
way. Yeah, it's
he's one of the most brilliant, if not the most brilliant comedian I've ever worked with. I mean, he's incredible. Like he really knows what he's doing up there, and like he has his off nights like everybody. You know, I'm not saying because people have said before to me like, "Oh, I've seen him not do well." Like, well, yeah, fucking everybody, you know, everybody. It's stand up comedy. Yeah, everybody has their bad night. You know, um, but he's stellar, man. We were just goofing about the night that Michael Sam got drafted by the Rams. Uh, Bruce goes on stage. Tim Dwight is in the crowd at Catacombs. Tim Dwight had
okay.
dropped in to watch
For
Catacombs.
those of you not from Iowa listening, Tim Dwight played for the University of Iowa, actually from Iowa
I
City,
think people know who
and
Tim
then
Dwight
went
is,
on
right?
went
Yeah,
on
he
playing
ran
in the
back the opening
pros.
kickoff of the Super Bowl one time.
That is
He's a
right.
stud,
Right
man.
on.
Well, oh
I
yeah,
know
okay.
everybody in Iowa will know,
Right,
but
right.
this is
I'm
nationwide, worldwide.
I'm telling you, man,
What?
the whole country's. They have Tim Dwight there. They think Tim Dwight's from their town in other towns. They got Tim Dwight.
Probably.
Yeah, they got like Tim Dwight, Wisconsin. It's all Truman Show, dude. All. So all right, so Tim Dwight's in the crowd and Bruce is singing the national anthem. Then he stops in the middle of it and just screams his head off and screams, "Michael Sam to the St. Louis Rams! Let's all be gay!" I've never laughed so hard, man. It was just his timing is so on, and he's so non sequitur. It's all non sequitur, you know. So, over time, a lot of it's rubbed off on me. I try not to let too much of it, because there's nothing worse than like being somebody else's character, in stand up. Like you don't want to sound like it. You
Yeah.
want to sound like yourself. You don't want to sound like anybody else. But he's
Yes.
definitely influenced me a lot. He's a really good guy, and he really knows his shit. So it's a great tool having a dude like that in Iowa. It's probably not, him and some of the other dudes like I mentioned before. Uh, you know, just Donzilla and Bill Blank. These dudes that live here. That Josh Alton and Willie Farrell and these guys. They've helped me out, and you know Tim Sullivan, tons of guys like that are local that have given me gigs and taken me with them. And there's no other way to do it really for the road or from a place like this where there's not a city that you can get up every night. So
Yeah.
been very lucky in that regard.
And honestly, like the scene there in Iowa City, Cedar Rapids area is a pretty awesome scene to be a part of. It's like open and it doesn't seem very clicky from my experiences with it.
I mean, every scene is clicky, like that's what a scene is different cliques that form together to make one larger thing, you know. And it's all about being able to get through those clicks and still work, you know.
Yeah.
Like if you can get stuck in one, I see it a lot, dude. And I'm not saying I never have or whatever, but you can really get stuck in a click mentality anywhere, and it's not good because you get in your head and you think, you know, it's me and my buddies and we're doing this together and all that. But people move and they get girlfriends and things change. And if you're resting too hard on somebody else's shoulder in this, you can turn around and be like, well, that's where I was getting all my work. That's where I was getting all my stuff. Now what do I do?
Yeah.
Or like that's where I was. That was my pal. That was my. Now I don't want to do it anymore. I went through a period where like I made really good friends in Iowa City doing stand up right at first, and then everybody moved, and then it was like I kind of had to stay around, and then you get doing it and you're like, do I really want to do this or was I just having fun with my friends? I think that's the thing that
Yeah.
everybody that does open mics goes through at some point when you say, did I want to be a comedian or do I just want to party with my buddies some more? Is this just another like karaoke night for me? Or is this a club for me? Or is this like something I want to do with my life? And so, the first thing is kind of like getting over being on stage. And I think that comes kind of next before you start doing it on the road
Yeah.
and start doing it professionally.
Yeah, it's an interesting concept on that. I haven't quite heard it compared open mic nights to like just a karaoke night with your friend, but it makes sense,
I mean, it kind
like
of is though.
the
Don't you think? I mean, like anyone can get up, anyone can. I mean, there's people at every open mic night treating it different. I guess is
yeah.
there to some people there's hobby comics, man, and there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not trying to paint a bad picture of that. But I guess yeah, I think there's definitely people there that are just there for the karaoke. They're just there to this is my excuse to drink. This is my Tuesday night excuse to drink. You see it a lot because you'll tell a guy like, "Oh, come do this show with me on Saturday," and they're like, "No, I'm going out on Saturday." Like
Yeah.
like I do the show on Tuesday. I like it on Tuesday because I do the show on Saturday. Or I like Monday because I go out on Friday. It's yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So you've been like outside of open mics, you've been hitting the road, as you said. You've been out on a tour with Preston Lacey and Stevo, and And you got something with Tom Green coming up too. Tell me a little bit about what you got going on, Tom.
Yeah, man, of course. I mean, like, well, yeah, at some point, you move past the open mics, and that's kind of what I was talking about too. And I'm not saying I'm like past over. I still open mic. You gotta stay fresh and hot. Um, I still MC. I do stuff all over the board. But yeah, I've been lucky. The thing with Steve-O that you mentioned was back in 2013. I did a tour called the Original Pranksters Tour with Steve-O and Tom Green at the Riviera in Las Vegas. And that really kind of helped me get started. And so since then, I've been lucky enough. I've toured with like Bam Margera, and I get to go work with Tom Green again, which is really cool at a comedy club called Looney's Comedy Corner in Colorado Springs from October 15th through the 17th. And we got 5 shows there. And it'll be really cool. I played the club earlier this year with Bill Blank. And yeah, there's a guy named Eric out there that runs the club. And he's just like the nicest dude you could ever meet. And they run a cool room. It's a really, really old comedy club. They've got pictures of all the old comics on the wall and stuff like that. And they have like an old Kinnison headshot.
Oh
It doesn't
wow.
even like have his name on it. It's just like his picture. You know what I mean? He's probably like featuring or something, or like just starting a headline at the time. And yeah, it's crazy. And they've got the wall of the comics that have kind of passed away. And so it's um, for me, it's a cool thing to start going around the country, and it's cool because you think like I'm doing this impossible thing, and then you see stuff like that, and you're like, nah, people have done this before. Plenty of people have done this before, and I just got to stay the course.
Yeah, that from what I hear other comedians talking about, that's the main thing. Staying on stage is the biggest challenge to, becoming successful. As long as you stick with it, you have a good chance of making it to some extent.
Yeah, you got to decide what making it is to you too. Like where you find satisfaction in it. Like right now, to me, just making it till tomorrow is making it to me. Like every day that I get to say like I'm just doing stand-up comedy and this is solely what's doing it for me, then that's fucking awesome to me. I didn't think that's possible. So, uh, yeah, but I mean, for other guys, it's you want different stuff. For me, I'm like, give me my Christmas dog movie and the 3 lines, and I'm happy as hell. Like, but you know, uh, it just depends on what you and I don't plan on stopping anytime soon either. So, I know good stuff's down the road. So. And like you mentioned Preston Lacey too. I don't want to forget to talk about that here.
Yes.
Yeah, Preston
Sorry, I
Lacey.
throw those all at you at once
No, it's
right
cool,
there. I
dude.
should have
I'm
spread them
flattered that
out.
you know my shit. That's great. I don't. You know better than I do. That's awesome. Uh, but yeah, like Preston Lacey, I've been opening for Preston, and he's let me tour manage him as well too. So I've been kind of learning that in a crash course. But I've been on the road enough that I kind of know what I'm doing. So. Um, that's been really neat, and we're extending the tour, which is really cool. I got a guy to come in and help out with it. His name's Frank Finelli, and Frank is Bam Margera's tour manager, and I met Frank, and he kind of really helped me. I mean, Frank's the whole reason I toured with Bam, and so Frank likes me, and I know he books all sorts of bands and their tours and stuff, and so I kind of went to him and I was like, hey, can you help me take this thing to the next level? Like, we're touring in the Midwest, but we want to put this thing all over the country. And so he's like, you got to show me some stuff, and I did, and he was able to sell a lot of dates. I don't have the full list yet. I know you and I keep going back and forth and talking about that, and I want to promote it, but I think right now it's at like 30 cities or something like that is what I can
Oh
tell you.
wow.
Yeah, so.
Are you
Um,
gonna get out to the West Coast on that, or?
Yeah, we're supposed to. Again, like I don't want to drop names of cities and then not be there. But and then hopefully by the time this is out, maybe we can just link the schedule with it.
Yeah, put it in the show
Yeah, just put it in the
notes.
show notes or something like that. But yeah, man, it looks like we're going all over. It looks like we kind of start in the Midwest and work our way out to the East Coast, and then along the bottom of the country, and then out west, and then back up Midwest.
Okay.
So.
All right.
Yeah, and then there's like a little break in between for maybe a couple days. I think we take a week off or something like that in between. at what point, but it's more or less it's the entire November and December. So it's definitely the biggest tour I've done, and large scale. And one of the highlights on it that is just that for me, it's such a cool thing you know to be able to get in front of that many people every night and that many fans. It's just like
Yeah, that,
the name recognition of like Preston Lacey. They're coming out with him, and then all of a sudden they remember that's a special night for them. They take a picture and stuff like that. They get an autograph. They saw a guy they know from movies, and then when you're the guy opening for them, that really helps a lot. So
yeah, definitely.
yeah,
And you're getting good. Like I could imagine with guys like Preston Lacey, Tom Green, the crowd coming and not really paying attention to the opener, but you're getting good good attention during the shows, grabbing the crowd's attention.
yeah, man. I mean, it's cool. It's I'm also not like always the first opener either, which is nice. I'm featuring some like direct support, and then usually I have a half hour or like 25 minutes, and a lot of times more. I think you know with shows on that scale, like 95% of the time they have an MC and like a couple other guys that want to do spots. So yeah, I mean the crowd's filing in during the MC, and then it's like, okay, here's a guest spot or two, and then usually it's like, all right, here's the feature, and by that time they're seated and they're into it, and then my
Okay.
name's promoted too on all the tour stuff. So I mean,
So they know who you
well, they
are.
kind of know, like, all right, this is they don't know who I am, but I mean, like, now
They know
the
of you.
show that came to town, now that's starting. These are the two guys in from out of town, and so that helps a lot. Usually the other guys are locals, and then a lot of times, dude, a lot of times for shows like that, like clubs make openers sell tickets and help promote and stuff like that. So a lot of times, you'll do a show and it's a lot of friends and family out there for opening acts. So
Yeah.
they know when you're not one of the first three or so.
Yeah, yeah, kind of a bringer show. They give you the tickets to sell. That's how you get paid, and
Right. And I'm
all
not
that
saying
good
that's what
stuff.
we draw, but I'm just saying like that's what a lot of clubs will do, that just in general. Like a lot of
Yeah,
these, especially if you're like, you know, our Friday, Saturday shows, it's no problem moving the tickets. But when a club wants to have you on like a Monday or something like that, sometimes they'll freak out and they'll put on a kid or some shit like that. So usually, no, I'm not really dealing with that anymore where I don't have people paying attention and shit like that. Sometimes you get it, like if I'm at an open mic or if I'm doing my own road tour. Sometimes when I tour on my own and like I'm headlining and I'm at bars and shit, like, sometimes you'll every now and then you'll set one up and the bar didn't fucking promote it all. People don't even know there's gonna be a show, and the guy's like sick in the head and he's gonna make you do it just to get paid. And so you kind of have to go up in the corner of the room and like go into fucking TV mode because people don't. But
yeah.
what I'm attempting to say is that it doesn't really happen anymore on like the Preston shows and stuff like that.
That's awesome, dude. That's awesome. On our first interview, that we tried, you were telling me about one of the craziest moments that happened while you were on tour. It was chucking darts at one of the club
Oh yeah,
owners.
shit, dude. Yeah, I forgot that we talked about. Fuck yeah, we. so, sorry there. I'm glad we're FCC safe or whatever from the cursing because I just kind of went Tourette's just now. But yeah, man, one of the guy, his name is Nick Huffman, and he's a comic himself. He's a very funny guy. But he owns the Looney Bin in Bradley, Illinois, and I mean, dude, he had hit us. He had talked to us and said, "I want to do some crazy stunts with you guys." And I was like, we welcome that. That's cool. We've had people come up from the crowd, and we've had the other openers do it and stuff with us. We do stunts at the end of the show, and and people love Jackass, man. If you want to do a Jackass stunt, I think that's rad as hell. But for me and Preston, like we have to do the show every single night. So like, you want to do big stunts, but at the same time too, you got to think like, okay, there's we're gonna do 12 nights of this, and we want to bring energy every single night, and then like, it's a drinking crowd and kind of we do stunts that involve alcohol too. So like we got to get up tomorrow, we got to drive 6 hours to the next town, we got to bring energy to that next town. and then we got to stay up and do a meet and greet with those people, and it's every night. So our stunts are more under control than you might think. I mean, they're by no means pussy. I mean, we've been snorting wasabi and shit, but it's also stuff that you can recover from, where you're not like, hospitalized or some shit. And this dude, he's like, yeah, I want you guys to shoot blow darts into me, like hunting blow darts. And he's like, no, I've done it before. I've done it before. And I'm like, okay. I mean, like, you're the boss. I mean, we want you to pay us, so let's
Yeah.
shoot this shit in you. But I mean, it was funny, dude. And then like, we kind of had it rigged up so that he had like whoever loses has to eat this fucking pepper. And again, the pepper was like something that was supposed to fucking hospitalize you. I was like, I'm not trying
Oh,
to go to
wow.
the ER tonight, and like with my tongue on fire from this. So one of his bartenders like ate it, but we were shooting darts into him as a contest, but the bartender, like, he flubbed it on purpose. The guy's a saint, saved my ass. But but yeah, man.
I
I mean,
saw the
he
pictures
is
of that
drawing.
dart
He
gun
draw
too.
the dart gun, and it was drawing blood. And then the next day, man, like people were talking to me on Facebook, and they were like, "That's gonna get infected. He's gonna get sick. He's gonna die." And shit. And I was like, nah, fuck you. Like, grow up. And then my buddies were like, dude, he's probably gonna get infected. He's probably gonna die. And I was like, yeah, I know. He's fucking dead as shit. And so I started freaking out, like I was being negligent or something like that. We didn't sign anything or do anything. I'm watching the video over and over, and like I put a fucking dart in him, and everybody cheers, and I cheer, and I was just like thinking, like, if this guy fucking dies, they're gonna play this clip over and over and over, and I looks like, oh my god, and I felt so guilty. And so we actually we did a show um, later that week at a venue that was close by, and he came to that show, and I was like, dude, let me see your stomach, are you all right? Like, and I talked to him afterwards again, so he's okay. But man, I
That's
felt
good.
bad, dude. And it was one of those things, like, we got into town, he wanted to do it, I was like, yeah, sure, fucking knock yourself out. And then afterwards you get thinking, like, god, I was tour managing, that's on me. Like, just probably not the smartest move ever. But
Yeah.
it's
Well,
also, I mean, dude, I've seen them get nuts though. Like the first time I ever opened for Steve-O, this guy kept heckling him. He's yelling, Steve-O, Steve-O, and Steve-O's finally like, God, man, why, man? Why you keep yelling my name? The guy's, he's like, I want you to kick me in the nuts, Steve-O. I want you to kick me in the nuts. And he's like, I'll kick you in the nuts. Come up here, And so he brings him on stage, and his buddy's got the video camera, this guy, and and so he's like, all right, I want you to say into the camera, like, hi, my name is Jim, and I want Steve-O to kick me in the nuts. I know it's going to happen. I assume all liability, like, I'm not going to sue. He's like, I want you to say that into the camera. And the guy goes, okay, hi, my name is, and he doesn't even get past the hi, really. And Steve-O fucking kicks his nuts up into his stomach and just fucking drops the guy. It was great, man.
wow.
Yo, it was fucking the
I
funniest.
bet the crowd loved
Oh, they
that.
went crazy, man. It's one of the funniest things I've ever seen. And like, what better feeling? As I told him afterwards, I said, dude, I don't even think you probably grasp this, because I don't know how long you've been. At the time, I was like, I don't know how long you've been doing comedy, or if you grasp this, but I was like, there's so many headliners that would want nothing more than to kick a fucking heckler in the nuts. You know what I mean? Like, do you know how many comedians in the history of stand-up comedy have wanted a heckler to be like, kick me in the nuts? And you're like, okay, yeah, that'd be great. And then you get to do it. Like, that's incredible, that just his career steered in that direction.
Yeah,
That's
no
totally
kidding.
socially acceptable and celebrated for him to do that. To fucking just knock this guy's nuts awry. Like,
Could you imagine Louis C.K. getting
right, that's
away
what I'm
with
saying.
that,
Like, just
or
being like,
like
yeah, like Amy Schumer fucking puts her heel into
David
some guy's
Chappelle?
ball sack. Like, think about that. Like, no way, dude. Yeah, Tosh, if he did that shit, no, man. I mean, that's like a Kramer thing. You'd be done forever.
Yeah.
But Jackass doesn't, and it's like, well, yeah, rock on. It's awesome.
It's like, oh, that's those guys from Jackass.
Yeah, it's incredible, dude. And but since I've been around them, it's been kind of cool to see how much, you know, talent and stuff really goes into it, and how much thought process goes into the stunts and all that sort of stuff to develop it and squeeze as many laughs as possible out of it.
And is there a lot more like preparation in the stunts than it appears to be?
Yeah,
Like you're
yeah. I
like,
mean, it
okay,
not
I'm gonna do this, you do that, and like just so people don't get hurt, or is it pretty
well,
much
I
all
don't
hell
want to
and
speak for the
ghosts?
show and the movies because I've never been around that, and so I don't know about that. But and then when Steve-O would do stunts and Bam would do stunts, I wasn't really like that involved in that. You know what I mean? They're gonna do their own shit. But like me and Preston do like a dual thing at the end of the show where we both do stunts. So yeah, we plan it out. But I mean like, but also like you kind of plan it out, but then you leave parts of it like wide open.
Yeah.
Like there's one point where like we were doing a thing for a while where I was hitting him in the face with a chicken, like a raw chicken. We went and got a raw chicken, and then I put it on my fist, and I punch him in the face with it. But then later on in the show, like we'd snort wasabi and squeeze limes in our eyes and snort salt, and we do the tequila stunt man. And and so I'm fucking blind, and I'm not, I guess, as used to it. I don't know if that's the right term, like if you can get used to that, but I'm not, I'm just fucking first couple times, I'm just dying. Like what the shit? I can't see or anything. And Preston's a fucking pro, man. He takes it, he gets it done, he wipes his eyes clean, he picks up that chicken, puts it on his fist, and fucking smacks me back with it. And stuff like that is like, we definitely didn't go over that, but that's funny, like the crowd's laughing, like go nuts.
Yeah, yeah.
Like
I've
I was doing a thing for a while, like he's kind of got, I mean, it's not even funny, but he's kind of got some almost like PTSD from uh, from doing jet. Like he's real jumpy. They all kind of are for like, if something goes bang, like right next to him, they're like jumping out of their fucking skin. They think, something's going to go off. Like when they film those movies, you're on high alert, like,
oh, I bet.
and you got to think like it just kept getting more and more and more intense. At first they're like, oh, we're doing an egg eating contest, like in the show, like, oh, you're gonna get poop on you, huh? And then by the third movie, they're like, yeah, and an anaconda's gonna bite you, and you're gonna get flung in the air. It got fucking intense.
You
So
definitely have to keep lifting the stakes to
right,
keep it
right.
relevant, It's
So
like eventually it's gonna be like, where are you guys gonna go with
we were
this?
in Wisconsin, and I started sneaking fireworks into the show, and then I pop a couple off at him. Just like the loud popper stuff, like nothing that was gonna hurt him. But I mean, he just jump out of his fucking skin. And of course, afterwards, I was like, "Hey, man, I'm sorry about that." And he's like, "No, no, I like it. Keep it in. Let's do that. That's good." Like, he's from Missouri. He's got an accent, so. Yeah.
How many of them are from the South? I know Preston and Johnny Knoxville are.
I don't know that many. I just know Preston, Bam, and Steve-O. And Steve-O is from like um he's from London, I believe. And then
Really?
yeah, I've never really heard that much about his childhood. I've kind of read some stuff on it because I was a fan back in the day. But it's not that I'm not now, obviously, but like growing up, I obviously watched Jackass and shit. If I remember right, he's from London. Um, Preston is from Joplin, Missouri, where that tornado was at.
Okay.
And then he splits time between there and Hollywood. And then Bam is from Westchester, Pennsylvania, and he has that big house there they call Castle Bam. Yeah.
Seen that in like the BAM show and all
Right.
that shit.
Right.
Let's see. Burial mounds.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we can talk about that. Yeah, I'm in
Uh,
another movie I'm kind of working on is this movie called The Burial. Like it's kind of a neat thing that happened. I did their teaser trailer. So like, I never realized that people did this really, but this is what we had to do for that reality show that I shot, and this is what they're having to do for their movie. And um, a lot of different movies and stuff do this. They make like a sizzle reel or like a teaser trailer before the film is actually made, with not necessarily the cast that's going to be in the film. They just make one like it's kind of like, not shitty necessarily, but just kind of slap something together so that when they're going to look for investors, and raising the money, they can show them something, so you get,
Okay.
and like, if you're going to invest in a film and you want to spend, $10,000 to $100,000 or more, accredited investor, like you're going to want something for your, you know, for your product, for your money, excuse me, like some product. Whereas it's not a very tangible thing that you're buying. Just like that's why comedians have to have a website. Like you want to buy something. Like when you book me, you want to know what you bought. Otherwise, it's just Tom Garland is kind of an untangible thing. It's just a guy. But if they get on their
Yeah.
website and they see my stuff, and then they're like, oh, okay, this is what I'm buying. This is here it is presented to me, the talent presented to me, and that's what I'm buying. So that's what they want to do with these movies. So I was the bad guy in their teaser trailer for this movie called The Burial that they want to shoot in Lansing, Iowa. And the people shooting it, this guy's name is Jack Meggers, and him and this Chris Riken is his partner, and they're both just like absolute saints. But Jack is from he's from Iowa originally. He's from like Mason City, and yeah, I linked up with them, and I shot this trailer, and Jack and Chris liked me, and they were like, you live here, and I was like, yeah, and they were like, well, that's great. I mean, this is a low budget film, but like, we're looking for somebody to be in it, and we'd like to put some Iowa person in it, and so they haven't given me an official offer for the role yet, but the business plan that they use, has me in it, and all that, so it's headed in the right direction. I like it's kind of one of those things. It's just like the reality show. Like I want to promote it, but I don't want to be excited about it at the same. You know what I'm saying? Like I know the different. I could get written out of it, or something could happen.
Yeah.
But it's headed in the right direction. They just got another $100,000 for it, which is really exciting. And so what we plan to do is, they plan to make the movie for around $500,000, and they want to make it look like it's about a $3 million movie so that it can run in theaters.
Okay.
So
Wow.
we're shooting under
It's
budget, but not so under budget that there's no money to it. $500,000 is still a lot of money, but it's not, an extreme amount of money. They, are looking at different actors and stuff for it right now, but obviously like the principal roles will have real actors in it, and their eyes are on like doing, a theater run with it, which is really cool. The uh,
what is the plot of it? What's the premise to
Oh,
it?
okay. So yeah, well, it goes
Of what you
through,
can tell
yeah, it goes
anyway.
through rewrites too. Obviously, as different investors and different people get involved, you know, you got to start compromising and being like, hey, I'm going to give you guys $200,000, but this is how we're going to do this part of the movie. You kind of have to be like, all right, maybe, yeah, okay, kind of, sure, and kind of, and that ended up happening with our reality show too. Originally, the reality show was called Small Town Comics, and it was about my career and going out to Vegas and all that sort of shit, and Bruce and my connection with him and the yacht club. And then as it got going, the show ended up changing to a show called Comedy Wars. Is what the final thing we were in was called Comedy Wars, and it was about two fictitious comedy clubs that were rivals that were trying to steal comics back and forth. And it was
How to make that?
I don't have a fucking clue, bro. I mean, it
And where
really
was the
went.
second club? Was that
I
a
know
made
like
up
the
club
guys.
or?
Yeah, more or less. Yeah, and I mean ours is it was a made up club necessarily. We're a showcase or an open mic that runs once a week. Like it's a
Yeah.
glorified mic. Like, and we were making it out to be a full time club. And I mean, it had more to it than that. It had like drama and it had a good script, I thought. But and like I'm not trying to talk shit because I know that the guys. I really feel the guys that were like the producers that were trying to make it happen really spent hours and hours and hours that they weren't getting paid for, and they did because they loved it and they wanted to make it happen for us, and they
Yeah.
wanted to just get
That's
us
great.
on. I honestly, it got going, and I know these guys just wanted to put us on TV in general. Like, all right, they don't like this, but we're gonna do this kind of thing. Like we're gonna help you guys out and get you guys on TV because they loved us and wanted to do something cool for us. But in the end, it got too far from. I think it got too far from what was going on. So a little of that goes into this movie maybe, but yeah. So there's a girl and her like a father passes away and she's from a small town, and this is shot in Lansing, Iowa. And so she comes back to Lansing, and she's got to bury her dad, and then she kind of gets involved with like her friends that are still back home. She was away at college, and now she, you know how it is. You go back home and you get partying with your old high school friends, and the kids are kind of getting into some trouble and doing some illegal shit. And sooner or later, the cops start to kind of get some heat on them, and so they decide that they're going to go camping for the weekend. And out on this river that's runs through Lansing and hide out from the cops, and that's their alibi. And so they go out on the out camping and shit, and they uncover like this Indian burial mound, and they decide that they're gonna dig it up and see what's inside
Never
and
a
try
good
and
idea
steal the
to
shit.
do.
Right? No, not a good idea to do. And and they get ghost sickness, which the natives believe is a can happen if you disturb the dead. But I mean, in reality too, like you're gonna get sick if you dig up a dead body. You know what I mean? Like that's not a good thing.
Yeah.
But in this, we get sick, but we also become possessed, and so the four of us become possessed and deadly sick out in the woods and turn against each other, kind of Lord of the Flies style. It's very like Deliverance, Lord of the Flies, kind of comparable. It's real creepy, man. It's real scary. Like I was getting scared when I was reading it, and it was fun because I was playing the bad guy in the teaser. So like when we shot some of the different scenes, so they could present them. Like they had these two girls that we're working with who were actually they were really fun and talented too. But I mean I was just scaring the hell out. I mean they were just scared shitless just because of the way it's written, and then like I executed it well, and so they they were jumping out of their
That means you're doing a good
right,
job
but they're
if
I
they're
mean
scared shitless
we're
of you.
laughing because they're just like jumping out of their skin the whole time we're doing it. I'm like I'm really a nice guy. I'm so sorry. And this is like the one girl that was the first she met me was like my lines in this movie, which is my character just going completely off the handle. So I play this guy named Tyler, who is he's like all these guys are like fresh out of high school, newly in college, and I'm the guy that like never went to college. He was like 26, sketchy dude. I steal chemicals that people make meth with and stuff like that, and I get him into a lot of trouble. I end up being the one that thinks we should dig up the burial mound, and then I'm kind of definitely the one that pushes things off the handle. I mean, it gets pretty crazy once the show kind of pops off. Uh, you know, it's
Sounds
really
like a
good.
fun role.
It really is, man. I mean, it's really cool. And then I like that it's kind of like a zombie scary thing, but without it being like necessarily too. I know it sounds, maybe unrealistic, but it's really not. It's really written very accurately as to, like getting is possession, a real thing that you can wrap your mind around. I don't know, maybe, but the rest of it is pretty. It's pretty like yeah, this is exactly what would happen, and then just about the size of a police force in a small town and just little stuff like that. I mean, and how long it would take somebody to get to you and all that, and the all that kind of factors into the movie as it goes without giving too much away. It's really good.
Cool, cool. When do you think you'll start shooting on it?
We're supposed to shoot this coming summer, so again like I'm hoping that they stay with me for that role. They've kind of told me that they'll put me in the film no matter what. I think a lot of it you know has to do with budget. Like if they get more than what they think maybe and like imagine they got a ton of money, I'd assume they want you know somebody that's an actor in that role, other than me. But they've told me that I look the part and that I screen tested well for it, obviously, through the teaser. And then now we've kind of done, as they've kind of done some rewrites to it, they want to do like script readings. And so that means I'm going to go in there and read through the script with them. And so they can kind of rewrite it to sound like my voice. So, I think it's definitely, it's headed in the right direction, but again, not trying to get too excited, but yeah, it's been a cool opportunity though to just see what all has to go into it in the beginning stages, even if it completely falls apart. Like it's crazy to learn what goes into making a reality show and how scripted it is and all that. And then this has been nuts for me too. And it's been some really cool exposure. And Jack Meggers, the guy that's directing it, he worked for the show Criminal Minds. And this Chris Riken, she worked for Imagine Entertainment with Ron Howard and Castle Rock with Rob Reiner out in LA. And she still has really strong connections with Castle Rock. And so that's kind of our hope with the film too as well. We can produce a low budget film, but not too low budget, and get it to one of those distributors and get it out there. That's such a big fight in the film thing. Like Up on the Rooftop, they got a distributor that's doing really well for them. That's going to be in the UK and in France and Germany and all sorts of different countries in theaters there, which is really neat to
Oh,
know.
wow.
Yeah, yeah, which is really cool. So, um, so
That'd be cool. Look for that over the
right,
holidays.
right. Take a flight to look for airfare to France. Go see my movie in theaters, man. The way it's supposed to be seen. Don't.
Is it a way to see it here in the States that's
Actually,
easier, like
you can.
Netflix
Well,
or?
you can get home and you can see it on November 13th. It premieres at the Paramount in Cedar Rapids for a red carpet event, which is pretty cool. So I'll actually be on tour with Preston Lacey at the time, so I'm gonna have to miss it, which I'm upset about. But I'm also, it's kind of bittersweet because it's a big tour, and I'll be excited to be on stage wherever I'm at that night.
Yeah.
Um, and then on November 17th, it's in the Chicago Comedy Film Festival in Chicago at the new 400 theaters. It'll be there. I gotta miss that as well, but you can see it there in Chicago. And then I mean, yeah, I don't want to speak for its distribution because I don't know, but I can say that Joe's last film was on Netflix and on Redbox, and so this
Okay.
the formula. If you check that out, so I would assume this one's headed probably a similar, if not better, path. It's second time around making a movie. And then, like I said, I do know it's been released that it's going to do a theater run, in other countries. So, it doesn't say necessarily if that means America too, but definitely overseas. So I'm just really,
That's awesome,
yeah,
dude.
it's awesome for Joe, man. I mean, if you knew this guy, he's just such a hard worker. He's from Iowa. He's a good kid, and then too, like he's not making garbage either. There's so many of these people, dude. Like I'm trying to do smaller films and stuff like that just so I can get the experience and I'm all about paying my dues and everything and still with the comedy. Like we've talked, I'm still doing mics and shit sometimes on occasion and I'd do whatever role in a movie, but there's just so much shit out there. It's just trash. You read these
Yeah.
scripts and it's just violence and sex and drugs just to put shit in a movie. Now I've talked to other people that have movies with violence, sex and drugs, and I'm like, okay, I'm interested in that. That's actually a cool plot. And like it's well written, and I can tell you're a professional. But some of it, man, is like borderline porn that's out there when you first and people enjoy making it too, and they're weird and shit. And Joe is making a cute kids dog movie, like a G-rated movie in Iowa. And I mean, you got to see the trailer, dude. Look, Google Up on the Rooftop trailer. It's awesome. It shows Iowa in a really cool way, and this Burial too is going to do that as well if it gets made. So we're still trying to raise the money.
Awesome,
So
dude.
if anybody's trying to invest in a film and buy your
Where
way
can
into the
they
movies.
where can they go to donate if they are looking to or
Um,
invest or?
well, yeah, we're not really doing the Kickstarter thing. They're only looking for accredited investors because, again, it's a bigger project than you probably would think. But if you wanted to get involved, it's just the burialmovie@gmail.com right now. You can reach out to there.
All right, cool, man. Uh, well, it's just over an hour right now as far as time goes, so probably should start wrapping up here. Anything else you got going on that you want to throw out there?
Not too much, man. You can always just check me out on my website. It's just tomgarlandcomedy.com. And then, I guess Instagram, it's just comedian Tom Garland. And my new Snapchat is Iowa's Just Joking. And that's my Twitter, too. I'm on Facebook. So, stalk me, find me
All
out.
right, cyber stalking is fun. Thanks again for joining me, man.
Dude, thank
And
you, man. Congrats on the new show. I'm excited for you and where this is headed. I already saw a couple other people. I think maybe you reached out to a couple of people on my friends list, even on Facebook, that said they were going to do this. So,
yeah, I interviewed like I have an interview coming up, I believe, with Dan Hampel.
yeah, and I
Uh,
know me and him have kind of like almost cross paths and not cross paths. It's been a weird thing where There's been a couple different, and I don't want to talk your head off because you just said you're trying to wrap up, but yeah, there's been a
Oh, that's
couple
all
different
good.
projects with him that have come up, and we've tried to make something work, and then it doesn't. But yeah, but he's definitely somebody in Iowa that's doing it too, and it's cool when you see that, man. That kind of stuff keeps me in it when I see people, here in the middle of nowhere making a run at the
Yeah.
entertainment business is always pretty cool to me.
And I guess he's originally from out here in the Bay Area
Really?
too.
Oh, okay. Well, then fuck
Yeah.
him.
Well, but he moved there like in '07 or
No,
something.
fuck him
But
then. I don't care.
all right, yeah, fuck him. Fuck him all to hell.
Oh man, that's terrible. Okay. Well,
I think you just hurt his feelings,
yeah,
dude.
probably he's not. I hope he's not listening. I don't know what kind of listenership my name's gonna get you, man. This might hurt your first episode. They might be like, damn, Aaron.
You'd be like, oh, Tom Garland, fuck that guy. He's the one that's out there with Preston Lacey. He can't even take a lime in the eye like a real man.
Right, exactly, man. I wish I could take a lime in the eye at the end of this thing to spice it up, but I mean, I guess I could. Here, you could just hear the screams. I don't know if that does. That's like old time radio. It's like
You got the Bud Light lime. You could just
I
dump
am
that.
drinking a Bud Light Lime right now. Yeah, that's good. I'm jumping that down my esophagus instead of my eyes. But
There are better beers, but you said that one was left behind or
this was,
something.
yeah. This guy left these at
A
my.
scavenger
This is an
beer.
absolute scavenger beer. I am just a scavenger man, dude. I hope that that's what you can take away from my podcast. And I'm scavenging my way through comedy. I'm at the bottom rung of every other comedy scene. And I'm scavenging my way through this beer and this podcast and my jokes this entire
It,
hour. So
it's like a shelter beer, like you went to some people go and adopt a dog. You adopted a beer.
dude, I wish someone would comedy adopt me. Oh my god, that would be great. I wish I could just be someone's shelter comedian. Like someone could
Someone
just,
shelter comedian.
yeah, like someone would just take me in.
Somebody rescued me.
Just fucking, oh, it just, yeah, just some, dude. One of the first road gigs I ever did was this guy, and I won't say his name, but I mean, he's just nuts. We played this little shit bar in Keokuk, Iowa, which is, is like an hour from where we're from, right?
Yeah.
And we're out in Keokuk, and I actually, it was a piece of shit, but you got inside there, and it was like a rocking good time. They were packed, it was snowy, and we had this other comedian with us, and it was my first road gig, my first time ever staying in a hotel. And I went out with this guy afterwards, and I asked him, I was like, "Hey man, I want to be a comedian like you. I want to do this like a pro, and tell me, what do I need to do? Like tell me what's the secret, man? Like let me in, And I'm trying to squeeze as much information out of him as I can in one night. He's trying to drink, he doesn't give a shit, and he's already the fucking hammered, but he did kill, he's a funny guy, but he leans into me. I'll never forget this, and he's like, "You want to know what you got to do, man? You got to go on the road and you got to eat a different fucking nasty girl's pussy in every town across America. That's what you got to do. You got to go home with one of these fucking nasty bitch and eat their pussy, dude." And he goes, "Just don't, nothing about you. Just fucking eat their pussy." He goes, "I don't care how mad she gets at you. Whatever you do, you can stay on her couch for the rest of your life." He goes, "You take the hotel money, you stay on that girl's couch for the rest of your life. She's cooking you eggs and shit. You gotta do it sometimes. It's like you gotta eat pussy for comedy." I'll never forget that, dude. It was just insane. So he was scavenging his way across the road, and now I am too. And maybe not that
How's that
that
advice
desperate.
working out
Well,
for
I'll
you?
tell you what, man. I I don't take up on it too often. I'm lucky enough that people have kept me away uh, from studying myself out on the road. I don't know, how do you say male whoring? What's that? What's the
Man whoring?
man
I
whoring
don't know.
myself out?
Yeah.
Yeah, for couches. But I'm fortunate enough. Keegan Buckingham lets me stay on his couch in Chicago every time I go in there, and that's really helped me, get in at those clubs. And so, is the day Keegan gets a pussy, I'm fucked. Like, but he doesn't have one yet, which is cool. So there's a fucking
That's
high note
awesome,
to
man.
end on. Yeah, there you go.
That
Tom
that
Grove.
is a
By
high
the way, let
note.
me leave you with one dirty road story about eating pussy. Okay, hey, good night. Right, uncontained, uncontained.
The dirty road stories are the best road stories, man.
Oh man, it wasn't even something I did. It was just the way he said it, man. It was just him being like, "You got it. You got to. You got to. That's the only way." These places aren't giving hotels anymore, man. You gotta eat. You gotta get down on your knees. You gotta work that tongue, dude.
Like Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. They're like, I live by the book. They make with the head for hitchhiking.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
They
that's
actually try to
great.
go down on Carrie Fisher, which is a nun, and they get
Right.
kicked out of the but George Carlin goes down on the truck driver.
I saw an article today that more people are trying to be nuns.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that's
That's my next move, dude. If this doesn't work out, I'm
Garland
joining
the
them.
comedy nun.
Yeah, comedy nun, man. I'm joining the monastery. I'm just never gonna speak again. This might be my last. I might quit tomorrow, dude. I might be there tomorrow, and this might be the last time anyone ever gets my voice recorded. So I'm glad this. If this is it, Aaron,
Glad we have
I'm.
this. I'm glad we have this.
Well, you probably don't. We've recorded this like fucking 7 times. you have, this is literally for everybody at home doesn't understand this, but we've literally recorded this podcast like 7 fucking times, which is not an excuse for how long I've talked either. But I'll tell you, man, if this is the last I ever speak to anybody, I'm happy I got it all out there with you. Thanks so much for having me on.
Yes. Thank you, Tom, and then we'll put all your contact information in the show notes.
Yeah, do that. Put my social security number on there and get it out there. I need that.
Yes, and your home address.
That's good.
There's lots going on with comedian Tom Garland, so make sure you check him out at tomgarland.com. He has some shows coming up in Chicago. He's doing a supply and demand show, which is a really cool concept. It's at the Laugh Factory. The first few people that show up, it starts out free. As you continue to go on and it fills up, it goes to $5, goes to $10, goes to $15, and then the people who waited too long, well, they pay $20 at the door, so make sure you fill that up. That is March 2nd at the Laugh Factory in Chicago. Then you can check them out in Iowa City on the 5th of March at the Green Gravel Comedy Festival. So lots going on with Tom Garland. Once again, tomgarland.com is where you can find a full tour schedule along with what all else is going on with Tom Garland. Keep up to date with him. Hit him up on social media. Let him know you heard his show here on Uncontained. Thanks again for listening, and until next time, live uncontained.